So what can I say, guys? It's the Trump effect in action. TikTok is back online just 12 hours after shutting itself down in the United States. So the company is already thanking now President Donald Trump for intervening. Now, what's surprising is that some critics are now accusing the shutdown of being calculated political stunts to make Trump look good. Unbelievable. Do you guys believe that? Do you think Trump would really do that? I mean, seriously. Meanwhile, Democrats are busy throwing one another under the bus. Case in point, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, he just revealed to the New York Times that he actually urged Biden to drop out of the race during a private meeting as early as July 13th. His threat to Biden at the time, that he's going to go down in American history as one of the darkest figures. Other Trump good news, though, 3 hostages from Hamas were just released to the Israeli Defense Forces, Rami Ghanem, Doron Steinbrecher, and Emily Damari. After spending 471 days as prisoners, all of these women were able to walk unaided from Red Cross vehicles to waiting IDF officials. Many experts are making this as the first step in Israel's historic ceasefire and hostage exchange agreement with Hamas. Now, I say it is a sign of great things to come under this new administration. You know what I'm saying? Either way, stay tuned. We got a lot to talk about, guys. All right, so first, let's talk about this TikTok return, because let me tell you guys, people are already starting to get angry. In fact, people were so angry about the TikTok ban that they decided to move to an even sketchier Chinese app called Red Note just to show lawmakers that they were serious. Social media expert Ari Adna Jacob talks about it right here. Watch.
People really need to understand why in heaven's name would anybody do this, right? And that's because people are so angry about the TikTok ban. Users are really frustrated because lawmakers don't seem to understand what makes TikTok unique. For example, Justice Alito compared TikTok to, is it an old t-shirt that you just can't let go of? And some people said, why don't you guys just build a new algorithm? And I think what people need to understand is that TikTok's algorithm is like a skyscraper. It's built on billions of interactions over time, and you can't just build it overnight. And unlike Instagram, it's not just for pretty popular people. It kind of gives anyone a chance to go viral. So as someone who focuses on short form video for American businesses, I understand why people are upset, but I'm still not going to that other app.
But I talked to several people in the tech world and a couple more who are young. And I asked them, why are people going over to this communist app? And they said, as a screw you to the U.S. government. They know that it's ultimately controlled by China, the Communist Party of China, and they don't care. They didn't care with TikTok, and now they know, and they care even less. They are angry that their lives revolve around TikTok, and their lives have so for several years, and the people in Congress just pulled the rug out from under them. And so it's really a middle finger to people in Congress. But by the way, somebody in the tech world told me that this algorithm that ByteDance holds so closely would be easy to replicate. You would just have to buy the users from TikTok and just hire some coders to replicate it.
So that's the thing, right? Is even if you rebuilt it and started from zero, that's basically like telling creators, when you're telling them to go to Instagram or go to a new app, you're basically telling creators just move apps. That's like telling a valedictorian to transfer schools 2 weeks before graduation and start over as a freshman in another country where they don't speak the language. So as you can imagine, that frustration has led the Americans to download Red Note. And Red Note operates under strict Chinese censorship and shares its data with the CCP. And people are saying, was it inspired by Mao Zedong's communist handbook? Or, if you believe Wikipedia, Stanford and Bain Capital and maybe even Mitt Romney. So this is getting so weird. But here's what I think the statement that some people are trying to make is that let's just say lawmakers don't want drug dealers in their neighborhood, right? But say you've got dealers who don't sell to kids, they don't use violence, and the police have a handle on how they operate. Well, Then you throw those dealers in jail. What happens? Worse dealers move in, and suddenly you've got chaos. And that's kind of what these people are trying to create. Plus, some users think that the alternatives to TikTok in the US are just as bad. We already know that TikTok and Facebook manipulated algorithms to censor information at the request of the US government. So, but I still think that this rebellion could backfire. Red Note's terms of service, again, they ask you to sign away your intellectual property and likeness. Yeah. So it's bit dangerous.
Yeah, and it's not really any better than Instagram's Reels.
Me personally, I've been hearing from different sides here. Some people are saying they depend on TikTok for their income, for their side hustle, for their business, their living. And yeah, they make a good point. Other people though, they're just flat out no, go ahead and ban TikTok. So which side do you guys stand on? MAGA or not, many people say that this app, along with a lot of other social media apps, has rotted the minds of our youth and even adults. Why not read a book, go outside and exercise? Think critically. Like I said, guys, lots of sides here. For me, I just say to each their own. You know what I'm saying? Now, the whole TikTok ban saga is pretty interesting in and of itself. So around 12 hours after shutting itself down in the United States, TikTok is back for many users, almost like it never left. They say that they've got President Trump to thank for that. The official statement said, in an agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. And the company specifically credited Trump for providing the necessary clarity and the assurance to service providers that they're not going to face any kind of penalties for keeping the platform available to its American user base. As they said here, it's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. Do you guys think Trump made a good move here by bringing TikTok back? Let me know, guys. Now, for many users who checked it out early, they said that it's like the app is slowly kind of like waking up. Scott Sutton, CEO of Later Media, confirmed the partial restoration on X, saying that TikTok is back up and working on desktop. Seems some services are still slowly coming back online, but minutes later, he ended up posting a follow-up saying TikTok app access is back, but no content other than mine was loading and all engagement history on posts is missing. Anybody using TikTok that can confirm the current experience right now? Like, is TikTok fully back or is it acting a little glitchy? Share your story down below. But yeah, guys, it was a pretty dark time for like 170 million Americans when the very popular social media app went dark after the Supreme Court allowed a nationwide ban to take effect early Sunday. Now, regardless of how people feel about it, I don't think that there's any arguing that the platform has become a cultural phenomenon and career launcher for countless content creators. I mean, TikTok influencers across the United States have filmed themselves breaking down in hysteria as the Supreme Court-backed TikTok ban took effect. Viral TikTok sensation Alex Earl, who boasts 7.2 million followers, shared an emotional video saying that she can't sleep and she's so freaked out about this, just thinking like all of the memories just went away. Former Goldman Sachs employee Danielle Flung, she left her banking career to become a full-time content creator. Do you guys think that this was a good idea? Before TikTok went dark, she posted a video joking about having to call her old employer. So after setting herself up on TikTok, she thought about going back to get a real job. After the ban started, she went on Instagram to document her evening and saying that this is so eerie. Even controversial trans activist Dylan Mulvaney shared his own heartfelt message about how TikTok enabled them to express their authentic self. So yeah, people from all walks of life mourned TikTok for about 12 hours while it was gone. Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social that he's asking companies not to let TikTok stay dark. Shortly after that, he announced that he will issue an executive order to extend the period of time before the law's prohibitions take effect so that they can ultimately make a deal to protect our national security. Now, he also confirmed that there will be no liability for any company that helped keep TikTok from going dark before my order. Now, what's really surprising though is that there's also some fierce backlash on social media. Some comments I found online about the TikTok ban and then return. One person said, "This is a stunt and it was all along." This will obviously work as well because I genuinely think that some people aren't actually informed and didn't know Trump was planning to do this since last week. Do y'all believe this? Like Trump would sabotage TikTok just so that he could look like the guy who brought it back? I don't know if I'm buying that. Now, another person wrote, "This was all a stunt to make Trump look good." Another one, "So it really was all a ploy for his I saved the day moment." Yeah, people are like, I don't know. They're just like, I don't know if they just got TDS, Trump derangement syndrome or what. Shouldn't they just be happy that the app is back? Like if they like using it, like what's the big deal here? Anyway, I don't know, guys. President Trump, he seems to have found a pretty good middle ground with this whole TikTok debate with regard to national security. According to the new deal that he's proposing, Trump said that he would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in a joint venture. He said that by doing this, we save TikTok, we keep it in good hands, and we allow it to stay up. Without U.S. approval, there is no TikTok. With our approval, it's worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe even trillions. Now, from what I found out, they've already got 2 potential buyers who submitted formal bids for the app, and others have reportedly shown interest in TikTok. Now, one is a group led by billionaire Frank McCourt and Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary, as well as AI search engine Perplexity AI. It's just that ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, is quite determined not to sell. Their argument? TikTok's near magical algorithm keeping users hooked to the app is its secret power, and putting a price tag on such a valuable commodity envied by other social media apps is difficult. And so this is why McCourt's buyer group has said that it would buy TikTok's US assets without the algorithm and rebuild the app. Then again, we're not really sure how successful that would be. I mean, tech giants like Meta and YouTube, they've been trying for years to replicate TikTok's popular algorithm. Instagram even went vertical just recently, and still people are choosing to go with the Chinese app. Go figure. So is TikTok really better than Instagram? Y'all let me know. And should they ban TikTok in the United States, like for good? Like for real, for real? Like, let me know, guys. Drop a quick yes or no in the comments. Hit the like button if you guys appreciate the conversation here, and more is coming your way on this one. So definitely stay right there, guys. Now, just a quick reminder, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, if it makes sense for you to do so, if you like content and conversations like this. Yeah. So next, we got the bombshell report of how Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer actually pushed Joe Biden out the presidential candidacy. Check this out.
Into the way Chuck Schumer helped get rid of Biden. Just published in the New York Times about a meeting this summer in Rehoboth, Delaware. Schumer said, if there's a secret ballot in the Senate, Mr. President, Schumer said, my guess is you get at most 5 yeses. Really? Mr. Biden responded. I know my caucus, Mr. Schumer told him. You know I know my caucus. And Mr. Biden nodded, despite the fact that Democrats then elevated someone who never got a primary vote to the top of the ticket. The president says the real threat to democracy is in the future.
I really am concerned about how fragile democracy is. I guess what I'm worried about is that the thing that keeps it on track are the guardrails. There's a Supreme Court that's independent, but accountable. There's a Congress that you speak your mind, but you're held accountable to basic standards. There's a presidency that says you have really limited powers. I mean, you're the top dog, but you can't dictate everything. And I don't know, we just seem to be chipping away at all those elements.
Later on this afternoon, President Biden is going to deliver remarks to the Conference of Mayors here in Washington. Then he's got a trip listed to join Base Andrews, even though he's not flying anywhere. So he is either going to thank the Air Force One and Marine One crews, or maybe welcome a special guest. We haven't been told yet. Back to you.
Interesting stuff.
You know what my uncle said about this when he saw this? That Schumer, that's right, he called him Schumer, he needs to be pushed out as well. Now, another part that I can't go over in the video is how Joe Biden was actually talking about accountability. I mean, considering how he pardoned his own son and then acted like that was democracy, I mean, it really makes you thankful that we got adults back in office already. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much par for the course, if you ask me. I mean, just look at Schumer. I remember him saying that he was with Joe even after Joe Biden's disastrous debate against Trump. Then we find out that he actually urged Joe Biden to drop out of the race during a private meeting shortly after. His exact words to the then president and then Democratic nominee: if you run and you lose to Trump, we lose the Senate and we don't get the House back. That 50 years of amazing, beautiful work goes out of the window. But worse, you go down in American history as one of the darkest figures. He said to Joe, if I were you, I wouldn't run. And I'm urging you not to run. Now, apparently the Democratic leader even had note cards to rehearse what he was going to say to the president. Chuck Schumer would tell Joe Biden that if there were a secret ballot among Democratic senators, no more than 5 would say that he should stay in the race. And Chuck Schumer would tell Joe Biden that his own pollster gave him a 5% chance of beating Trump. I mean, Democrats were destroying their own party amongst themselves long before Trump won the presidential election, but this definitely fast tracks the party's demise, if you ask me. I mean, Biden, Schumer, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, all their leaders are basically not talking to one another after this election fallout. Honestly, this will be in the history books. And the rest, well, they're all pretty much busy biting each other's head off. Meanwhile, Trump and his administration are full steam ahead with their accomplishments. Just take a look at this recent win. Hamas hostages finally being released to Israeli Defense Forces. Watch this.
3 female Israeli women who were released from Hamas captivity today. We have this brand new video. You can see it there. The car pulls up, and you'll see them walking out in just a moment as they're transferred to the IDF from the Red Cross. You can just imagine the moment for these women. The video on your screen you're looking at, you see them coming out one by one. And this was, by the way, after they were heckled in the streets in Gaza. Here they are in the hands of the IDF and soon to be their loved ones. It's 24-year-old Romy Gonen, 31-year-old Doran Steinbrocker, and 28-year-old Emily Damari. You see them there, and their mothers were actually waiting for them. That was the first family members they were each reunited with after more than a year in Hamas captivity. You can only imagine what they went through. We've heard, Marie, the stories of other hostages, the torture many have endured, not just mentally, but physically. And we pray for these women. We know they're back. They're in the arms of their mothers right now, soon to be their families.
I mean, I'm getting chills watching this. 2 of these women, these young women, were from Kfar Aza, a kibbutz in southern Israel that I visited last summer. And many people have gone there. Many people have talked to their families, their loved ones who for over 400 days have fought and waited for them to come home. And the fact that we now have a ceasefire that the Biden and Trump administrations together worked on, that hopefully we will see more hostages, including Americans, being released in the coming days. That the Israeli people who have been out there.
The return of 3 women was celebrated across Israel. Mandy Damari, mother of British Israeli Emily Damari, said in a statement, after 471 days, Emily is finally home. I want to thank everyone who never stopped fighting for Emily throughout this horrendous ordeal and who never stopped saying her name. In Israel, Britain, the United States, and around the world, thank you for bringing Emily home. While Emily's nightmare in Gaza is over, far too many other families are still finding it impossible as their wait continues. Every last hostage must be released and humanitarian aid must be provided to the hostages who are still waiting to come home. So the release of hostages comes as a part of a U.S., Qatar, Egypt mediated deal in which Israel will release 90 Palestinian prisoners, some convicted of murder. Expect more hostages to be released over the next 5 weeks, with hostages and prisoners exchanged in carefully planned stages. By the 16th day, negotiations will begin for the second phase, focusing on the release of soldiers and young men, as well as the return of bodies. Now, as for the American hostages, Biden said that he is determined to bring the 7 home, 3 of whom are believed to be alive. But yeah, guys, it looks like these people are coming home to the United States under the Trump administration. So what do you guys think? Are you excited for an America First government to finally start? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below, guys. Let's continue the conversation there. More suggested videos as well for you guys at the end of this one. So stick around. And as always, appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for hitting the like button and subscribing and for sharing these videos. I really appreciate the support. You guys are freaking amazing. And I'll see you guys on the next one.